What do you think is the biggest shift now versus, let's say, like before you started 10K, or when you were working like before that, or when you just started? Victoria, what do you think yours is?
Oh, I have no idea. I still feel like I'm going through shifts as my business grows, and it's almost like you don't know what you're capable of making or doing, or how big you're capable of, until you see that first step. And then you see the next one and you're like, oh my goodness. And then you see another one and you're like, okay. And all of a sudden you start to like break out of this, I want to say, like bubble that you've been in, and you realize that there's a lot more potential out there, and there's a lot more capability. And really, as cliche as it sounds, like the sky is your limit. And to me, like that's the coolest thing to see, and to be realistic about it. Like I know where I'm at in my business and how fast I can personally grow on my own, and to map it out and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do this year, be realistic about it, but setting those expectations that you are capable of improving tenfold, right? Like you have that ability to do that. And so for me, that mindset shift, I feel like every day I'm having a mindset shift. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I can make 10K a month, and then it's like, well, I could make way more than that, and then I like see you making like 50K a month. I'm like, what is she doing? What's she doing? Like, give me her secrets. But you know, then you remember we're all doing the same thing. Yeah. Right? She just seems to be really good at it.
Right. You know, my biggest mindset shift with going from 10 to 20K was at the beginning, and we talked about this a bit, was being so emotional over everything that happened. You make a sale, you do this, like everything that you do, if you screw up, it's like the end of the world. Last January, I launched and sent all 20 emails to my entire list at the same time. And one moment, I remember that. And I went online and I went to the group and said, Lori, should I give up? Like, it's game over. And she said, like, no, you just keep going. And I kept going. And so once I was hitting 10K consistently, something happened in my brain where I just stopped giving a shit. Like, I will F up so many times. I can't even tell you how many times I screw up in a day. I will screw up, and it's just...
Because it doesn't matter.
No. It matters.
Like, it really... And I think, you know, we see this, and we've had many conversations. I'm like, energy management is the name of the game.
100%.
Because if you're in it to win it, for the long haul, like you will be a puddle on the floor every other minute. Yeah. Because someone will say something dumb, or the tech won't work, or someone in your family will say something dumb, or your kid,
your VA will lose $2,000 for you, and then you'll find out 2 months later.
Right? Like, yeah, your VA will do that, or, you know, you'll lose $100,000 because nobody followed up with your declined payments. Like, that happens. Not with Christine, though. This was no. But I'm just saying, like, stuff happens, right? Like, and I appreciate you bringing that up, because, you know, this is something that we see all the time, where it's like the world is ending every 5 minutes, and it's really not, and nobody cares, and nobody even notices big time. And I think the more you can just be like, oh, that sucks, let's just move on and have a good laugh about it, like, because it's business. And I think also too, because none of us, I shouldn't say none of us, but the majority of us really have no frame of reference of what it's like, that you think that the world ends every time you make a mistake. You know, you think that your business is over and now you're unprofessional and everyone's going to know that you're a fraud, and you might as well just like go work at Starbucks because your 4 years of naturopathic, you know, college plus the 4 years before in kinesiology, so 8 years of schooling, you know, is now out the window because you sent 20 emails in one day. Like, even as I'm done. It's over. I'm discredited. I'm a runner, right? Yeah. So, but and that's very real for people, right? Where every little thing sets them off, and you just like are exhausted every single day. And I think the minute you realize that, like, that's genuinely par for the course, like that's going to happen 30 times every day, all day long, and you know, we have a core value in my company where like nothing is an emergency. And it's been like that forever. And it actually started the year that I did the first wellness business summit. And I remember somebody coming up to me and like in a panic, I'm like, what are you freaking out about? Like, stop, people can see you. Like people can see you. So imagine if your clients could see you in your home flipping out because you can't use the welcome post feature in your Facebook group. Like honestly, like imagine, right? Imagine that they can see you because, you know, you sent 2 emails out in one day and you're hysterical on the floor. Like, would they want to work with you? No, they wouldn't, because you go into a panic about everything when, like, you don't know that that's just how it is, right? So I really appreciate you bringing that up, because you'll also become extremely exhausted and totally disempowered as a human being if you allow every little thing to, like, go from 0 to 10.
This is honestly one of the biggest lessons I've learned from you. And not that I'm not like a panicky person, but I put a lot of pressure on myself, right? And I always want everything to be the best and perfect. And that's like, things are going to happen. And actually, sometimes it almost creates like an opportunity. Like I actually did something really similar and I just turned it into a joke. And I'm like, oh, so excited, right? And then I got a lot of engagement on that post. So excited. I emailed you guys 6 times this morning. But like to just be able to roll with it, because it is exhausting and you can't actually like develop, because having your own business obviously is like the biggest personal development thing ever, and grow your business and be successful and spend all your energy worrying about what other people think, between like the tech, between things like it was like hair, makeup, and if you guys know me now, things have changed a lot. Right? To, you know, wouldn't do video unless everything was perfect. And you know, I think it's actually creates better connection with your audience when you just roll with things and show up as a real human being.
I think if you can separate the emotion out of it, you can grow a lot faster, because then you're playing with Facebook ads, you're increasing your budget, you're doing all of these things that if you're scared and you're really living internally and you're, you know, thinking you're an imposter, thinking you're going to fail, you're not going to do it. Whereas now, like, I'll do random things and maybe they'll work, maybe they won't, and you just keep rolling. There's no emotion attached to that win anymore. It's awesome. Yes, it's totally awesome, but it's not my identity. Like, it's not my worth if it doesn't work.
Do you think that you developed that? Like, where does that come from? Because I know a lot of people are listening and they're like, that's great for you, Alicia.
That's me. I'm like, what? How do you disconnect from your emotions? That's good.
You make $30,000 a month?
For real, there's some confidence in having some measure of success. It doesn't have to be $30,000 a month, even if it's a, you know.
Yes, there is some confidence to it, but also too, like, I'll say for me that I had that even when I wasn't making any money, because I realized that it doesn't matter. Like, if this is what I'm doing, then the experience of all of it is for me to experience in order to grow, not to fail. Like, as soon as I realized that all of this experience is being put here for me to grow, then, and that's what I'm intending to do, it's not put here for me to fail, right? And the only way, and I remember, like, I don't know who I heard this from, but like, somebody said to me, like, the only way that you could possibly fail is if you actually quit, because everything is just learning. Like, everything is just feedback. Everything is just learning. So if you put out a Facebook post and nobody engages with it, it's not like, oh my God, I'm a horrible writer, nobody likes me. It's like, well, that didn't work, so let me try this angle, right? And that's really all that it is. It's just everything here is a test. Everything is a test. You raise your price, you try it for 3 months, doesn't work, you change the price. It's not like, oh my God, nobody wants my program. It's nope, that price just doesn't work, right? And so if you can really just see it for what it is, you know, you try a webinar and you're like, nobody registered. Well, it could be 5 different things. It could be the image on the face. Like, it's not personal. It's not personal at all. It's just a test. And so let's just test it and see. And I like, for those people that are in my world, like, I say that all the time. I'm like, I don't know. I can't tell you. Just test it. Just do it. Run it. Go with it. Is this is this webinar show up bonus going to absolutely make every single person show up for my webinar? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, just, I think so, given the title. The title's really good. It has best practices. This seems to be attractive to your ideal client, but just test it. I was watching Chalene Johnson's Insta stories someday, today, yesterday, I don't know. And she was showing her new push journals, and she was sure that this particular push journal cover thing was going to be like an absolute hit with her ideal clients, because we all know what everybody wants. And she's like, nobody wanted it, right? Nobody wanted that cover that she thought was going to be like the ultimate cover, the best seller. And that wasn't what they wanted. They wanted the one that didn't think anyone would buy. So I don't know, just test it. And so if you can, you know, money rewards speed, and the faster that you can just on to the next, and the faster that you can receive the feedback, and the faster that you can be devoid of emotion about it and just be like, oh, okay, this person wants a refund. Is it within the policy? Sure. Okay. No. Okay. Here's the policy. No, sorry. Bye. Right. Like, right. Everything is, if you remove your worth and you can say, this isn't really about me, then you have a much easier time, you know, walking through the journey, because it's not really about you. Right. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think the more you know, like, your numbers and like the business of your business, that matters too. And the more spreadsheets and more tracking I did, the more I was able to disconnect the emotions from it. Because when you see 10 people unsubscribe and you panic about it, then when you go look at the whole year and you're like, oh, only 30 people unsubscribed, but 5,000 new people came into my world and I tripled my sales. Like, who cares about those 10 people that left the email list on February 2nd? Like, it doesn't matter. And same with like, when you don't know what worked or didn't, like if you have no way of tracking things, then how do you know if it was the picture or the words or the whatever? And not enough people are tracking things. And so then they panic and blow everything up, and they're like, oh my God, this doesn't work. And it was like just the picture or just the title, right? Like, so you need to know those things. I think that was a big learning curve for me in 10K, and just going through all of this is like, the more metrics I've tracked and the more comfortable I am when I see numbers, I'm like, whatever, like it'll be, you know, this thing happens for a reason. And then the next month, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, that's why that happened. So this month was even better. Like, it's all good.
And that things can be like not perfect, or you can make mistakes and you can still help people. It can still be good content. It can still be good material. Like, I used to agonize over, like I said, like getting graphic designers to make my lead magnets, and like my lead magnet that I made in Google Docs and saved as a PDF works just fine for people. Like, they get good content out of that. You know, I recorded lessons for my program where the audio's out of sync, and somebody asked, what did you do? And I'm like, I had to cry, and I uploaded them, and then I never watched them again. They're still there. The content's still good. Like,
that's like when people tell me I make spelling mistakes.
Right.
No. Right?
I can't. Like, is that going to stop you from achieving your goals?
No.
Like,
it still helps people, right?
Right? Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure the learning lesson there is what really you should be paying attention to, but thanks. Like, thanks. All right, Hannah, anything that like you experienced in terms of like a mindset shift, or like a big aha for you?
I learned that when you, like, my mindset shift was, you have to show up. And when you do show up, it feels good. And that's how you build the self-esteem and the self-confidence to keep going and to keep doing it. So if you feel like, I kind of felt like I needed to show up with all those things already ready to go. And there were so many things that I didn't do well and didn't understand at first. And so the mind shift of being a beginner, taking it one step at a time, and it doesn't need to all be done before you get started. You know what I mean? And like, it kind of goes back to like the making the mistakes, like, it's okay. Doesn't need to be perfect before you get started. But I was really afraid to put myself out there before I knew exactly what was going to happen and how I was going to present myself, and just being okay to take one step at a time and ask for help. The mindset of asking for help. So when I first actually came into 10K, I was like, I got this, y'all. I'm going to get nothing but gold stars on my chart. I'm so excited to share with you what I've been doing. Let me teach you. And kind of just my personality, and I was excited to be a part of, a group of women who were, doing nutrition and stuff. But then being able to still, and of course I still struggle with this, like come at it with a little bit more humility and humbleness, and ask the real experts what they know, and then try it. Right. Just try it. Maybe it'll work. And that not everything has to be perfect, and you don't have to know everything before you get in, and things will change, and that's okay. So,
and share a little bit about what it was like for you to make those sales online, like those first, few sales that you made as like an RD, because for those people that are licensed, like Alicia said, like it's a foreign concept, right? I mean, less, I think, for naturopaths, like RDs, forget it. Like, right? Like you're probably one of the first 10 people, like maybe I'm like, but for sure, like it's not popular yet. It will be.
Yeah.
Once they realize.
The first couple sales, and they were small. I mean, I think I was doing, my first one was like at 260. Okay. So my first package was at 260, and, I think I just I couldn't move, and I was jittery, and I was so excited, and then it worked. And then I, went home and I told my husband, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then like half of it goes to taxes, it's gone. It's just gone. And they just kind of build on themselves. And the sale, I think, is the most fun when you know that who's coming in is the right person, and you're like, you can't see this yet, but I can see 12 weeks from now, and you're going to be so much better. Versus I've had sales where I'm like, you're kind of just here to play. You just want to play with a nutritionist. This is your hobby. You're going to kick this around and see if it works. But the real good ones are when you're just like, this is going to change everything. Julie, I can't wait to see what's going to happen to you. And then, that's really great. I remember after we launched, so we did the webinar, and I loved it. I loved my webinar. My ladies were talking back to me. Most of them were already previous clients, so that was nice. But I come out, and my husband goes, honey, this is gonna work. and that was it. And so it feels great. It feels great to know that you built this, and that you have something good to offer into the world, and it's going to help people. And then you make the sale, and you're just like, okay, now I can keep doing it. And it's just this affirmation of like, I'm in the right place at the right time. I mean, it's awesome to make money, but there's so many ways to make money. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ways to make money. So when you get into something where you can feel so amazing about it when you wake up and go to bed, the sales are.
Let's talk about asking for the sale for just a second, because I don't want to use our gender as a cop-out or anything, but I do think that it feels different, and it's a different experience given that we are female, and having to be in a very alpha leadership type authoritative scenario to continuously ask for the sale. Because I know when I first started, like I didn't ask for it. I was like, so I'm a nutritionist and this is what I do. Right?
Please ask me how to work with me.
Versus, would you like my help with that?
Yeah.
No? Why not? You sure about that? Because I can help you. Right? And so I'd love to just chat about, yes, that shift comes with experience for sure. And I'm sharing it. Laura has to go pick up her kids from school. Her phone alive.
See, accidents happen, mistakes happen.
Mistakes happen all the time. But I definitely think that sales, let's just talk about it because it's the elephant in the room, sales and money. Like sales and money, because all the time we hear, I'm posting in my Facebook group and I'm sending emails and it's not working. And I'm like, are you like telling them that you can help them? Like, are you asking for it? Like, are you talking about your program? Are you talking about how you can help people? Are you actually talking about it? Or are you just being like, this, that, here's the link to book, yes, that's good, but are you actually asking for it over and over again and telling people that you can help them? So I'd love to know from you guys, like what asking for the sale has felt like for you in terms of working, not working, feeling comfortable? How many times a day do you do it? You know, how often do you follow up? Because I think a lot of people too are like, do I follow up? I'm like, yes, you do. Until they tell you to fuck off or unsubscribe. Like, or bye. Yeah, you follow up. Like, yes, you know? So I know that this was a big deal for you. And I know that you make a lot of your sales through private message.
I do.
So can you just share a little bit about what that's like for you?
I am an introvert, and so private message is perfect for me. And I find that a lot of people really like it because they don't. It's a way that they can remove themselves. They can take one step back, so they're not looking at you or talking to you on the phone, and they'll just tell you all sorts of stuff. And so they're just putting it all out there. And so for me, that has been. I mean, at any given time, you know, sometimes I have 10 different private messages going on. It's been, I think, you know, part of it is you being confident in yourself and in what you're doing. I've been doing this for a really long time, so that part of it I didn't have a problem with. But there definitely, I felt like I was bugging people if I were to ask for the sale. And when we talked about, I sent emails out maybe once a month. And so when we talked about sending emails out more often, I'm like, well, I don't want to bug them. You're like, let them unsubscribe if they don't like it, but just send them out. And so then I started seeing that people are engaging with my emails. And so that's just another avenue. So I really had to expand my thinking on what are the different ways, because you're going to reach different people different ways. So I had to expand my thinking on that. But I also just think it's a confidence issue. It's being confident enough in yourself to say, I can help you. Do you want the help or not? And also not getting mad when they say no. And because that is the thing I was taking really, really personally, you know, and I was actually just talking to my current clients about this in the 4 agreements, where it says, don't take things personally, and the process you can go through mentally so that you can separate yourself. Because if you do get really attached to that sale, people can feel that too. Like, I really, really want you to buy from me. Please buy from me. Like, you know, like, oh, and I can give you this discount. Like, no, people are like, no, I'm good.
Like, it's great. Like,
right. So there's a balance there. And that's something that, you know, that I had to learn as I went on.
Yeah. Alicia, I remember when you're like, I've just decided that no's not an option. Like, that's just not an option I'm willing to tolerate. Like, no is not an applicable answer here. So do you want to just share about that?
Oh yeah, my sales experience has been interesting. My first call, I think I hung up because I was so like, I'm not going to tell her what my program is, and I think I just hung up. I've literally done it all. Like, I skip all the time, to a point that you just keep getting on the phone and asking, and then, you know, practicing and eventually to the, like, I joke that I'm kind of a shark. Like, I'm kind of really bold, and if they might say no, and I want to know why. Like, you just told me all of these things on how this is really screwing up your life. Here's my solution. What's going on? And then at least, you know, for me, it's not being mean and saying they have to buy my program. It's figuring out what is stopping them from taking action. Like, what is the big reason why they're not stepping into the solution, essentially, whether it's building your business, whether it's losing weight, whatever it is. Why are you holding back? Why aren't you taking action? And so that's when I hear a no, I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Game on, sister.
Game on. And yeah, sometimes they still end up with no. Sometimes it's still finances. Sometimes it's still the husband. But I don't consider my job done on a sales call until I know that reason why. Like, why are they actually saying no to me? I'll even ask him, like, is it me? Like, do you not like what I'm offering? Like, what is it about, like, you saying no? And I again separate myself from it. I separate the emotion from it, and I just ask really tough questions. And by the end of the sales call, you've got a report. Like, they trust you, they like you. It's really usually they're willing to tell you why they're not ready to take that next step. And I follow up like a ninja, like all the time. So the next day, next day, 48 hours, every 7 days for a month. And then I do monthly, and people come back and buy all the time. As long as you're staying front of mind and letting them know, like, okay, cool, maybe now isn't the right time because you now know why. Maybe next month, okay, 2 months. You can save up $2,000 by at least 6 months. So it's definitely in the follow-up if you can't secure that sale on the call.
And I love that. And I just want to draw out what Alicia said. She's not making it about her. She's making it genuinely about the person and really supporting them, even though sometimes it might feel uncomfortable to ask those questions. It's in service to them to help them really come to an understanding of what's stopping them. Because at the end of the day, that's our job, right? Our job is to get our clients results. And if they're getting a no before they even begin, that's a big problem. Like, that's the biggest problem. And so if you are able to see that and really grasp that and really understand that this whole process is not about me or you or you or you or whoever, it's really about them. And it's your job to figure out, it's like a puzzle. Like, it's your job to figure out the right words with the right positioning and the right time that they're ready. It's a puzzle. Eventually the piece will fall into place or you'll lose the piece. Like, there's only two ways this is going to go. Right? And so if you can sort of view it like that, and you can understand that, you know, once you've been doing puzzles for a while, you get better at them, right? Like, it just becomes easier to do the puzzle. Once you've done a puzzle, you can sort of see where the pieces go, and you can anticipate. I'm sure for those of you who do lots of sales calls, you can already anticipate what's about to happen. You know, when they say one thing or they breathe a certain way, like, you already know what, and you're like, I'm ready, I got this rebuttal, I've got this objection in the bag, right? Because you know, you're hearing the same things over and over and over again, and you know that if you say it this way, that, you know, you're going to get the response that you want. And when I say things like that and they all laugh, it's because that's the truth, right? That's the experience of like, yeah, absolutely. When they breathe a certain way or they say a certain thing, you know that either it's going to go one way and you have to bring it back, or it's going to go another way. Does anyone? Yeah, go ahead.
That's part of the power too of being very specific in what you offer as well.
And being repetitive of what you do.
Right. Yeah. Of having like a very specific program that you're selling with a very specific outcome to a very specific audience, is you can get that clarity, you can get that confidence from that repetition and all of that experience. And also, it doesn't feel like gross or salesy when you know that you can really help someone. Like you with that, like, I have a very specific niche in my program, but I know exactly who I can help, and I know that 100% I can help them if they show up and do the work, right? As opposed to if you're selling like, I don't know, like a 90-minute session and a 30-hour follow-up. Like, what is that, right?
Yeah, you can't help anyone with that, really. Yeah. Does anyone want to say anything about sales?
I remember something that you told me in the coaching or in 10K that really changed my mindset on sales. And it was that if you're not making sales, you're not helping people. End of story. And that to me was like, because I got into this industry because I wanted to help people. But if you're not making money, you're not helping people.
Right.
Like that's just how it is.
Right. And you know, one of the places that I operate from and that we operate from is I genuinely believe that in order for our community to get to where they want to go, like, they have to work with us. Because I know the value that we offer. I'm sure you guys feel the same way. Like, you don't want your people going and trying like Nutrislim. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't want them going and following a marathon running program when they're training for an OCR race, because you're letting them down when they do that, right? And so I feel like that too. And so when you come at it from that perspective of like, I know I can help you, which might be hard when you've literally never worked with anyone, but the only way to gain that experience and gain that confidence is to, guess what, start working with people, right?
I was going to add, so part of the issue I see with people is they want to help. So then the person says no. So then they offer discounts or offer the stuff for free. But from experience, the people you offer it to for free don't end up doing the work anyway. So you were going to trade. You're like, oh, I'm going to get this sweet like testimonial and a before and after picture. And this person's going to brag about me on social media. Guess what? They don't. Like, they don't do the program because they're not invested. So you're not doing yourself a favor by offering a discount or that person. So unless they're actually invested in it, they're not going to do the program.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's switch gears for just a minute, and then we'll end off with some words of wisdom and pieces of advice, because I just realized what the time was. All right, so I put a question up in the Take Your Health Practice online Facebook group, and so I just pulled some of the questions. We won't get to all of them, but one of them that I really wanted to talk about, because we see this all the time, and again, I feel a deep sense of responsibility to protect my community from making known mistakes. And so the first question that I want to address, and maybe you guys can share a little bit about your experience of this, is, what if I've already paid for a website? What if I already have the tech? Like, A, I have the tech, I have a website, I can't get clients. Or B, isn't that enough? Like, why do I need a business coach? Why do I need 10K? Why do I need to work with you? Because I already have Kajabi. I already have, a Wix website. Right? Do you want to say words?
No, I just have both of those. I'm like, no, I've got my business cards. Mm-hmm. I've got, I went to the gym to pitch my stuff. Like, what do I need this for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I can make all that stuff myself, so I don't even need any help with
that,
right?
Right.
I've got Canva.
Yeah.
I can use Canva.
Yeah.
I was boosting Facebook posts, as you know. And the first thing that you guys said to me was, you need to stop boosting your Facebook posts. And I argued for like a month.
Oh, you did. Yeah.
So it really is, there is an arrogance when you think that you can figure it out on your own. And it's the same thing, just like you said. Like, I know when my clients start coming to me and talking a certain way about losing weight or health, when they have no idea what they're talking about. And I'm like, okay, like, no, here's the way it actually is. And if you would just let me help you, you could get to your goals. And so that's what you guys had to do with me, because I just was very dead set on the fact that I don't understand.
You boost them, and then we let you sort of like fail a little bit.
Right. Because I'm like, what? I can boost this for $5.
Okay, go.
So so it's not, I saw this diagram recently. Todd Hargrave put this up where it was all these dots on a page, and it was said, this is knowledge. And then all the dots were connected on the second page. He said, this is experience. Mm-hmm. This is the difference between trying to do it on your own and working with a professional who's been there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, I would say, like, so I had all that stuff. I had a website. It had lots of views. It had, front SEO page of Google. Other people were like, oh, wow, you look at your nice website. You must be so successful. And I owned it. I was like, yeah, but like the reality was, like, every month I was borrowing money to cover my bills for my personal bills, not even like my business expenses. So people were like, you have this badass business, and I didn't. And I had invested in someone to build ClickFunnels. So I had ClickFunnels, I had ActiveCampaign, I had a website, and all I was doing was like hiding behind that stuff. And it was like, well, now I have to write blog posts because I have a website. Oh, I like this font, better go change all the fonts on my website today. And I wasn't doing stuff that was like actually moving my business forward.
It all feels so productive, right?
Yeah,
You're busy. Like I was busy all the time.
I'm like, I work all the time, but I'm not making money. And then part of that too was like the strategy. So like I had ClickFunnels. I knew how to build a funnel, but like what the hell goes in the funnel? How does the pieces go from here to here? And like, how do you transition someone? So it wasn't until I actually was willing to invest in that stuff. And then, I still have a website, but in 2020? So 2019, I stopped blogging. Like, I think I blogged twice in the whole year. And part of me was like, oh no, I'm not posting blogs. And like, I had that internal like panic. And every week I would put like, write a blog this week, Melissa, and like never do it. But I actually doubled my sales in 2019 compared to 2018 without blogging. I didn't do anything on my website. So the website is like not necessary. I let 10K take over all of my funnels. And even though I knew how to do it, it was also like, thanks for taking over that. Look how many free more hours I have in my business to now be doing the things like talking to clients or potential clients and making sales. So even if it only takes you 4 hours a week to do something on ClickFunnels, well, that's 4 hours a week I could be making sales instead. So,
but I also want to say I didn't know any of those things or have any of those things too. So you were light years ahead of me on that. I remember my call was with Laura, and she's like, so when something about your lead magnet in your funnel, I'm like, are you speaking English? Because I actually have no idea what you're talking about. So I think that's the thing that I can appreciate now is I came into this with no knowledge. So you have people who come into 10K who already totally understand how it works. And then people like me who aren't following anyone, have no programs, and are boosting posts on Facebook. Like,
Yeah.
so it can work for all different sorts of people.
And who also want to put 5 different problems into their webinar that they solve.
That's right.
Well, and the key is, you said, you get the people who know what they're doing. No, you get the people who think they know what they're doing. So that, like, I didn't know what I was doing, but because I had a pretty looking ClickFunnels that I paid for and a pretty website, I thought I knew what I was doing, but I wasn't making money. So there's a difference.
Yeah, totally. I want to ask the question of, you know, how did you guys choose your niche? Because that's something that we get all the time. It's like, I don't know who I want to work with, and what if I get bored of it, and what if I want to change in 5 years, and, you know, oh, I've been doing this for 5 minutes and this idea popped into my head, so maybe I should work with this niche. How did you decide what you wanted to do? Alicia, how did you decide?
Yeah, I work backwards with everything I do. I work backwards. I figured out who I wanted to work with, the type of person I wanted to work with, her personality. I was already in clinic at my school for a year, so I knew who I didn't like working with, and so I matched it personality-wise first. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but that's how I did it. And then I found out what she needed. So the person I wanted to work with, very type A, ambitious, like top executives, lawyers, salespeople, people who very ambitious essentially. And I found out what their main problem was. They wanted to lose weight. I didn't want to do weight loss, but she wanted it. I did more hormones. I love working with hormones. I love working with stress response. I found that most of these women were super stressed and, you know, not taking care of themselves. So what's the saying? You give them what?
Sell them what they want, give them what they need.
Yeah. I did that. And so it was the lady that I get on a call with her, and I love talking with her. None of my clients I don't like. I love them all. We get along really well. Our personalities match, and I'm very particular now about who comes into the program, knowing that if I get a dud, it's going to ruin my day and the program and the community and the vibe. And so that's how I did it.
Amazing. Okay, I want to ask one last question because we are getting close to the 2-hour mark. And I feel like at some point Facebook's going to be like,
you're done here.
Bye. You gotta go, lady. Oh, right. This is okay. Hold on. This is my daughter's iPad, and there we go. Okay. Did I just forget the code? Let's talk about the mindset of investing, of reinvesting, and what that's like. Because I know that there's a lot of people who aren't making money yet, who want to either come into 10K, work with us, work with somebody else, invest in their business. Or they are making money and they're like, oh, do I keep it? What do I do with it? Do I reinvest it? Like, what do I do with that? So can you just share a little bit about what the investing in your business at any stage has been like for you? Yeah, go for it.
So what I love is that we're all at different stages here.
Yeah.
And I made the most I ever made in my business doing what I'm doing now is $15,000 a year. So making the investment into 10K was a big deal. Mm-hmm. And my husband actually told me a few days ago, he's like, I felt like when we sat down and talked about this, you wanted me to say no because I was so scared. And he was like, oh yeah, go for it. Once I got in, I was all in.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. And so once I realized that you guys were all in for me and that I was all in for myself. So this year, last year, the year before, because of taxes, it was $15,000. This year it's 65.
Amazing.
Wow. And so, thank you. So I'm chasing Alicia. But that is, it's about the return on investment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what it's been about for me because I surpassed whatever I invested into, 10K a long time ago. And so what I've learned, it didn't just end with 10K. It's like, I can keep this going. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing is I have a plan to double my income this year. So to me, it's really not about what you're investing because we can all figure out a way. It's when you look at what the return is on the investment. And like we've all said, we're also passionate about what we do and to be able to do something that you love that's helping people. Like for me, I'm like, this is a movement, you know, like it's so exciting to be able, my main thing was to be able to get out there and reach more people. And that's exactly what I'm able to do now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
And in terms of reinvesting, like once you start making money, you know, once you have a system in place that you can follow and you start having stats and metrics, it's not like, well, I hope this works, right? You have numbers. It's not magic. It's just math, right? At a certain point, and you know, for every bit that I reinvest and I get to the next level and get to the next level, you know what you can expect in results. And, you know, there's always going to be ups and downs and variations and learning curves and whatever. But when you know that if I put this many people in this end, I get this many people at that end, right?
Yeah.
And you have numbers that you can look to for answers. It helps remove a lot of that emotion and that, like, can I do this? Because, and not to say you never feel that, because you always feel that.
Right. But there's math.
But yeah. But you can overcome that.
Yeah.
I never knew there'd be so much math in having a business like this.
Who would have thought math was involved in business? I don't
So
know.
many.
If I don't know.
So many numbers.
Yeah.
But you can look to those numbers and they give you answers when you're not feeling sure about yourself.
I remember, Victoria, when you were like, just tell me what to spend on Facebook ads. Like, I don't care. Just tell me.
Yeah, I remember being
Do
like,
you remember? You're like, I'm good. I'm in. Just tell me, because this is going to work. So just tell me.
Yeah, like how much money if I have to invest and I'm going to get these sales? Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Right? And if you have the money, you keep reinvesting. And that's part of growing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you guys reinvest, but like I decided 25% of every sale goes back into Facebook ads.
Yep.
No matter what. And like I didn't come from a lot of money. My husband's a full-time student. He's in his 4th year. So we used his student loan to invest in 10K. And like
Genius.
I quit my full-time job and we went full in, and this is our plan.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. Yeah. And you really just have to keep investing. Be smart with your money. Like, you know, I spent thousands of dollars on being like, oh, I'm not qualified in this area or this area or this area. And I took extra education when I didn't invest in how to actually run a business. Right. So yeah, I've got all these certifications that I've spent thousands of dollars on, but it was hard for me to like make the jump to buy a business coach. Like, that's so backwards. You know, you'd think you would buy a business coach before you would, like, I don't know, take another nutrition course when you're already certified in nutrition. But that was a mindset I had to change, and to recognize that the importance of investing in yourself and in your business. And like you even mentioned, like getting rid of the blogs, like trim the fat, don't do what isn't working, and focus on what is, and invest in yourself, and that will pay off.
Yeah.
I know for me, like last week I got a letter from the bank and they're like, we're giving you $4,000 more credit. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm reinvesting this in my business.
Lot of Facebook ads.
Right? And so my boyfriend was like, but you don't have to accept it. I'm like, I am accepting that. Like, that's money I can reinvest in my business. And like in the last week, I've spent $8,000. I bought a new laptop and bought something. And yeah, like it was fine. And I paid for it all in cash too. I didn't even need what the bank had, but I was like, I'm taking the credit that's available to me because it means I can reinvest in myself. It was like the coolest feeling ever to be like handed more money to like spend on my business. So
I think also the Facebook ads that I created about a year ago with y'all are still running.
Yeah.
And they're making me money all the time. The Facebook ads, as opposed to boosting the things that I had, are gold. And those are still, I mean, I get so much engagement on this. So it's, again, it's like, it keeps being a return on an investment.
I think it's hard for people to understand that you really, like, it takes a minute, it takes a beat to figure it out. But once you figure it out, you just keep doing the same thing and you let it ride.
Rinse and
like,
repeat.
How long have you been using your webinar for?
Same webinar live every week for over a year. I just turned it evergreen. And same webinar, same thing.
Yeah.
Just keep doing the same things.
Right?
Once they work.
And it does. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, you'll figure it out the first time you do it. No. It takes a minute. But the point is that that's where the focus is. It's not, I did it once, it doesn't work, so let me go over here and try this thing, and then that doesn't work one time because I did that one time, and I'll go over here and do that one time, right? It's once you understand it, then it's just about tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it until you get it and you can let it ride.
And you get so confident at it. And like, especially when you're attracting the right people too, right? And that's when people get that feeling like you're reading their mind, right? And there's no more like nerves, or I hope this works, or is this okay, right? Because you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it.
Guesswork is gone.
Yeah. Okay, so let's end off on some advice or something that maybe you wish that you would have told yourself or believed, you know, prior to going down this journey, so that the people listening can sort of learn from your experience and your lessons. Who wants to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
I wouldn't have told myself, this was the thing that I walked into 10K saying. Like, I went into it with no money. I had $120,000 in debt. I moved into my parents' place. Like, it was a hot mess. And when I joined, the one thing I said was follow Lori and follow her blindly. And I just did what she told me to do. Like, didn't think about it, didn't second guess it, just followed the steps, and again, took the emotion away and just did the things, whether they were uncomfortable and they sucked and I did them wrong. I just did them over and over and over again. And I think that was the big thing I'll say to everyone now is follow her blindly. She'll tell you what to do. You do the things, you get the results.
Yeah. It's always funny to me when people are like, I say to do the thing, and then they're like, but should I do this? I'm like, sure. Like, and it's funny because that's like what I used to do in my nutrition practice. They'd be like, well, you know, I'm telling them what to do, and they're like, but what if I just eat this? I'm like, fine. Like, because after a while, you're just like, okay, like you're paying me, and you're arguing with me, right? So that's interesting. Okay, anyone else? Advice, things that, go ahead.
I think for me, it wasn't just believing in you guys, which you've already established that I had no faith, even though I paid you all the money. It really was about, it's been a huge, I feel like I'm not even the same person. It is about believing in yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, you really have to believe that you can do it. And sometimes you have to believe that you can do it like 3 times a day. Like, you'll be like
3 times an hour.
Right. Like, you'll like, oh my God, really? I suck at it. I am the most amazing person in the world. Like, it is just like that. But for me, that's, especially given my background, I had a lot of baggage that I brought in. And so I guess I would say to people that if you are all in, you can do it.
Yeah.
And that's what you just have to keep believing in yourself and believing that the community is there for you while you make that personal transformation. So if you can get through it while it's hard, because it is hard.
It is hard.
You get up to that point where you're past the boss babe and you're on to CEO and you're like, I can do this. It doesn't mean you're never going to have doubts or a bad day, but you gain an empowerment that for me has been amazing.
Yeah,
totally. If I can piggyback on that, even is really investing in myself personally. And I always had a lot of, honestly, confidence in myself in my business. Not that I always did everything right, but I knew I had potential to be successful, but that, like, my personal life and my business, these aren't separate things, right? It's all me. And that I'm never going to have a measure of success if I don't invest in myself on a personal level and believe in myself on a personal level as well. And asking for help and support, like emotionally, hiring a house cleaner on a practical level, letting go a little bit on food, like whatever it is that I needed to do in my personal life that allowed me to be able to step up to the next level in my business. And honestly, that was some of the most uncomfortable work, whether it's spending money on myself for my own health, for therapy, for having somebody else do things for me in home logistics or whatever it is. I would never have gotten as far as I have so far in my business without investing and believing in myself personally.
Yeah. For sure.
I think for me, like, the biggest thing is, like, don't think that you can add yourself to other people's email list and follow them on Instagram and be like, I know how to run a business because I'm just going to copy and paste what they're doing. Like, you can't figure it out. There's a strategy behind the scenes that you don't see. That's not your ideal client. So the strategy is different. And I spend way too much of my time following people that are even still light years away from where I am now. And I was trying to, like, replicate what they were doing. It didn't work. And that's also why I had to, like, hashtag boss babe, and, like, wasn't me at all. And it felt gross and I wasn't speaking my truths. And so it wasn't until I started, like, unfollowing certain people and, like, just unsubscribing from email lists and then asking for help to do it my way versus copying other people's stuff that I started to see success.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, understanding the fundamentals so that you can make it your own.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can't just, like, scratch out the word weight loss and be like OCR athlete and like hope that the content works the exact same. Like that doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Hannah, what about you?
Don't be afraid to get a little out of your lane, and you can do hard things.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be a little uncomfortable, especially at those first 2 dinner parties or, professional conferences. But in the end, when I tell people now what I do, it's like I have the secret and they're stuck. Mm-hmm. They're stuck in the game. And I'm over here going, I don't do that. And I was afraid. And I don't know why I was so afraid, but I was afraid. And you can do hard things. Even when no one else is doing them.
Yes. So good. Victoria?
I think my piece of advice would be to not feel like I always felt like I should be able to do it on my own. Like, why can't I do it on my own? I should be able to do it on my own. I put this expectation on myself. But if you think back, thousands of years, anyone who was trying to do it on their own was dead. Like you needed to thrive in a community. Yeah. Like you needed to have a tribe. You needed to have a community. You needed to have people around you who knew
like a
more
t-shirt.
than what you did.
Try it alone and you'll die.
And so the community is really important to reach out, to recognize that you can't do it on your own. Other people out there know more than you do. Other people out there are here to help you. You were meant to do it in a community. You weren't meant to try to struggle on your own in your office, doing whatever it is that you're doing, changing fonts on your website. Like there is a better way and you can do it, but you can't do it on your own.
Yeah, love it. Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for flying and driving and training and doing all the things that you did to come here. And I hope that for those of you watching, whether you hung out the whole time or you popped in and out or you're going to watch us on the replay, I sincerely hope that this was helpful. I hope that you laughed. Maybe you cried a little bit. Shockingly, nobody cried, which is like a first for
all the alpha.
We're all the alpha. But I really hope that hearing these stories and hearing their experience really helps to normalize this process for you and really helps you to make confident decisions in your next steps. And whether that is to work with us now or at some point in the future, or it's just to alleviate some of that pressure that you put on yourself. That was the intent of this, to, over the last 5 days, to be able to show you the model, to show you what goes into building a successful business that you can get off the ground, not knowing anything, coming in with all the tech, being in debt, coming from a professional background. And, if you looked inside of each one of their businesses, it would look the exact same. Like the words are different, for the most part. Like, the words are different, the branding's different, all of that stuff. The headlines are a little different. But the pieces in and of themselves are the same, and that's how we know that it works. So if that is something that you are interested in, you can go to thewbh.com/breakthrough. You can book a call to speak with one of our advisors, and we will do our very best to support you and to guide you. And thank you so much for hanging out over these last 5 days. It was amazing. And thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.